Hello, it's me, Reed.
I'm Jennifer. Welcome to another Faith at Home listening practice. Listening as a two-way kind of prayer thing. We've just had a discussion here.
Yeah, we did.
So maybe you started watching what we started live doing earlier and it crashed in the middle. So we're starting again.
We're starting fresh. We can listen again.
It's very good for me to listen again.
Yeah.
So this morning we're listening with Psalm 13 from the Message translation. And you might want to pay attention this first time through for a word or a phrase or an idea or something that calls out to you, captures your imagination. You might want to have a pen or pencil and something to write if you like to do that. Sometimes that's helpful so you don't have to try and hold a word or a phrase in your mind. So let's listen together. Would you read for us first?
All right, I'll read Psalm 13 in the Message. Long enough, God. You've ignored me long enough. I've looked at the back of your head long enough. Long enough I've carried this ton of trouble, lived with a stomach full of pain. Long enough my arrogant enemies have looked down their noses at me. Take a good look at me, God, my God. I want to look life in the eye, so no enemy can get the best of me or laugh when I fall on my face. I've thrown myself headlong into your arms. I'm celebrating your rescue. I'm singing at the top of my lungs. I'm so full of answered prayers.
One of the things that amazes me about reading these Psalms, and we have a practice of reading the Psalms every day. We only Facebook Live or do podcast things a couple times a week, but we read the Psalms as a practice in our family every day. And every day there's something new in the same old Psalms.
These are thousands of years old.
Every time I read these Psalms, there's something different that stands out to me. So a few minutes ago, there was a phrase that stood out to me. And now the phrase that stands out to me is when I fall on my face. So that sense that as I interact in life, as I do things, as I carry on, I'm going to fall flat on my face. That's going to happen. If I'm at all courageous, at all risking myself in situations, sometimes I'm going to land flat on my face. And that's okay because God will be there flat on God's face with me to look me in the eye, to look at me with love and to help me as I get up again. Falling flat on my face is not an option, I don't think, but God will be there with me. I wonder what stands out to you. I'll maybe let our whining dog come join us for prayers.
Yes. For me, it was long enough. Long enough. This, for me, sticks out because I have in my life, I'm sure you have too, and even now, this idea that, I'm sick of things. Like, why? How come X, Y, or Z? Often, my own personal failings or whatever, going, not again. How come I do this all the time? It's very frustrating. So this idea of long enough, the idea of having arrogant enemies looking down the nose at me. I don't think I have enemies. I don't know. Maybe I do, but I think of maybe the enemies in my life are those sorts of thoughts and thinking about my own life and how I failed or whatever. So it's this discouragement, I guess. That's a real feeling I get sometimes. Like, why aren't I better? Or why isn't life better? How come this didn't go the way I wanted? So that's stuck out in my mind. I guess it's not a happy thought per se, but it's a real one.
We are paying attention for just what stands out to us, not what's good or bad or no judgment, just paying attention for what stands out. No judgment, darling. No judgment.
So how about we read it again,
Let's.
and we'll be focusing on an invitation, something that will move us forward, as it were, something God's calling us to, not just calling our attention to in what we're hearing, but
Long enough, God. You've ignored me long enough. I've looked at the back of your head long enough. Long enough, I've carried this ton of trouble, lived with a stomach full of pain. Long enough, my arrogant enemies have looked down their noses at me. Take a good look at me, God, my God. I want to look life in the eye, so no enemy can get the best of me, or laugh when I fall on my face. I've thrown myself headlong into your arms. I'm celebrating your rescue. I'm singing at the top of my lungs. I'm so full of answered prayers.
I guess it's in conjunction with that long enough. I feel like there's an invitation to, I do get fed up with things, and to, rather than just being fed up, leaving it there, I can feel free to jump into God's arms, that I can go to God. And be welcomed, even in the midst of that. I don't know if it says celebrating God's rescue of me. God hasn't rescued me from those feelings, but God is there with me in those feelings, I guess, to feel free to run to God. You?
I'm scanning.
You're thinking?
Scanning that. I think the invitation for me is to live in the space between the feelings between the, oh my goodness, here's a stomach full of pain, and over here, yeah, I feel like singing at the top of my lungs and saying, yeah, I'm full of answered prayer, and there's this sort of back and forth, and to live in that uncertainty, what we might call liminal space, the in-between of those two things that are there in a very real way.
But you folks.
Is there an invitation that you hear through these words? A call or something that cries out for your attention?
Write it down. Remember it through the day if you can. It can be really useful.
We'll look forward to hearing from you in whatever ways suit you best.
Keep listening.
Thanks a lot.
See you.
Bye-bye.